Welcome back. In this lecture, we will talk about very important command called netstat. So what is netstat? What it will do? So netstat will print network connections, routing tables, interface statistics and list listening ports. Lot of stuff it will do. It will show the routing tables, it will show the network statistics, and it will also show the TCP and UDP ports which are in the listening state. So this is all the information it will show, but we are only focused about the ports concept. The ports which is going to be in the listening state, how to see them, how to check the TCP ports which are in the listening state, and how to check UDP ports which are in the listening state. All this information we are going to see. So before we are going to talk about how to see this listening ports information with the help of netstat command. First of all, you should understand what is a port in the operating system. So what is a port? A port in Linux is a virtual concept that helps in accessing different services within a network or within a machine. Okay, so let me take an example. For example, we have a house or it's like a apartment, and in this apartment we have around 50 rooms are available, and in that 50 rooms like 50 people are staying, and this apartment is having one name or address. If someone want to go and talk to so and so person who is staying in the 102 room number, then what that person needs to do? The person should first come to the apartment address. Once he reaches there, then he will check where is 102 room number, and then he will go to the 102 room number and he will talk to the respective person. So in this scenario, in our environment here, apartment address is an IP address. Like for example, if you see this diagram, so this is apartment and this is an apartment address is nothing but an IP address of that machine. So this is a browser. I want to talk to the HTTP, means website has been configured inside this machine, or like FTP server. FTP means file transfer protocol. We can send files or we can receive files, we can download files from the Linux machine to our local or any other machine, and we can download or upload anything we can do with the help of FTP. And HTTP, we can install Apache software and we can configure web server, and website will run inside that, and we can able to access it with the help of IP address of this machine and SMTP, mail transfer protocol. Okay, so for example, if we install HTTP Apache package inside this machine and we want to access that website from this browser, then we are going to hit the IP address and the port number which is configured for HTTP. And this is by default 80 is the default port number which is configured inside the configuration file of Apache HTTP. But if we changed it, if we modified it to some other number like 880 or some XYZ number, then we should give here the number along with the IP address. Then what it will do, it will come to here and to this machine, but this machine should know, okay, to where it should send the request. So this machine knows that, okay, these are the port numbers which are already running inside my machine. So then it will send that request to this one. So IP address to reach the server, but inside this server there might be multiple services, applications might be running here. So whatever the request is coming, that request should go to that specific service. So that is the purpose we have port numbers. If it doesn't have port numbers, then all the services will run on this machine. Then how this request will go and know that this request is for only this specific service. So that's the reason this port numbers concept has been introduced, so that in a single server to a single IP you can access multiple applications. So this is how the ports are going to work. And by default OS is having some softwares like FTP software, HTTP, SMTP, DNS. These are some default services which are coming along with the operating system. But in real world, let's say we want to install Java software or Node.js software, React.js, or maybe database. So whenever a Java developer is going to configure or install Java application inside the Linux server, he is going to define his own port number inside the Java application, and whenever the Java is going to be started, then automatically that port will come into the listening state. And same way database team also, database is configured and they install inside any server, and when the database is started, then that port will come into the listen state. So whatever the request is coming to the Java or request is going to the database, then it will go and talk to that specific port number. So that is the reason we should configure port numbers. So now we'll go and log into the server and see how this netstat command will work. So right now I connected to this Ubuntu machine, so I can execute netstat without any options. If I give here, so lot of information it is showing. So here you can see all this information. So you can just check netstat -80 means it will show only TCP ports. So these are called as the TCP ports. So we have a basically concept in the ports, TCP ports and UDP ports. So you can see listen state, listen state. So the ports are in the listen state. If you see here, SSH is in the listen state, HTTP is in the listen state. In the previous commands we discussed about Apache installation and we discussed, right? So that's the reason HTTP is showing in the listen state. And you can check with the netstat hyphen ntlp command also, and currently it is showing the full information. So basically this is a TCP port, and 80 is the port number, and it's in the listen state. This HTTP process is using, this is a process ID, and which service it is, the program name what it is, and SSH is also it is using 22 port number. Like whenever we are connecting to this Linux machine through this SSH service, by default it is using port 22. So now what I am going to do, I will stop this Apache service. So systemctl stop Apache 2. So now after executing this, now again I'll type netstat -ntlp. So once I did this, I don't see 80, means this service is down now. So whatever the traffic is coming from the outside internet, they are not going to able to access this website, web server. They can able to reach to the server, but in the server this service is down, so they cannot able to access it. So this way it can be any kind of application. In real world, always we need to remember this is just an example of Apache. In our real world, maybe we work as a DevOps or any other engineers. So if we want to check what are the listening ports you want to see, then you should use netstat -ntlp. T means TCP ports, okay. L means only show me the listening one. There will be ports which are not in the listen state also. So but I want to see only which are in the listen state. P means I want to see the program name, okay, this one program name, and PID name, like which program is using that particular port. So in real world, if it is a Java application and they might define some customized port number inside their Java configuration, and when they start their Java application, then you can able to see that specific port numbers over here. If it is a database, then we can able to see the database port numbers also by default here inside this machine. So this way we can monitor whether services are in the listen state or not. And you can also execute netstat -nulp. So U means here only difference T and U. This is the TCP ports it will show, and this is the UDP ports it is going to be displayed. So here this way you can able to see listen listening ports inside the machine. So if you check netstat -a, so it is showing all the ports. So if you see listening connected, okay. So this way, if you see here state, listen, established, sync. So these are the different state of these ports, but we need to focus always on the listen state. So once a port number is used by any other service with the same port, you cannot start the another service. Let's say one Java application is running inside this machine and they configured 3033 port number. Another Java application also they want to install and configure. So it should not repeat the same port number 3033. Why? Because it's a different application, should go with a different number. So that is how the netstat command will work. Bye for now. We'll meet in the next video.